We're in. Hey, good looking. What you got
Hey,
cooking?
how are you?
Oh, just Jim Dandy. Every day's a holiday. How many meetings do you have tonight?
Just one.
Oh my gosh. Bring a book, something to read, some light, cartoons to watch on on your iPhone or something.
I actually have a conference that my professional conference is this week, so I was going to do some of the virtual sessions
Oh, really?
later. Yeah.
On particular aspects of city management, or
Yeah.
like how to do with unruly committee chief chairman?
They haven't had that one yet. Maybe I should teach it.
That's good. That's good. You definitely have the you have the experience.
You got the committee chairman.
And then so I mean, would this be like very general, like budgeting, or like what do you do if you find very specific, like what do you do if you find a embezzler?
There's some budgeting. There's a lot of leadership development, supervisory and management. There right now there's a lot of diversity and inclusion. So there's actually quite a lot on equity and social justice right now, because it's such a hot topic that I think they're seeing a lot of local governments need to improve on. There's actually quite a few policing sessions too, so I'll probably go to them as well.
You go to those. Do people from the city join you for different things, or just you?
Well, so this year, because everything's virtual, we were able to register a number of people. They had, like a group registration rate. And so we have quite a few people that are doing sessions from their offices.
Cool. So we aren't official yet. How are you making out with the new city councilmen?
They're good.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of, you get you get competent and you get cynical and you get jaundiced. I mean, the more you're on there and the more you've done these things, then when the new blood comes in with their new way of, they don't have a whole lot of experience. Does that cause a problem?
I don't think so. I haven't seen it cause a problem. I think the key is establishing a good communication rapport from the beginning, and that way, you can, you have a strong enough relationship to be able to talk about things as they come up.
Well, I saw they're upsetting the apple cart a little bit with this going back and revisiting the planning commissions.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be, as a, the other the councilors think, okay, we've got this behind us, and then they bring it up all over again. That would have been an interesting one to watch. The dialogue.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the planning commission deals with it, because they may have some ideas that they want to see incorporated, and there's also been change on the planning commission. In the past couple of years as well.
So I had Rob Morgan today out here at the I have beehives, and he's in the bee club, but he's never ever come.
Okay.
So I said, Rob, before you have your full operation, come on. So he met me at 9 o'clock, and he put his bee hat on and his suit.
So he's having that this week, right?
Yeah. So he had his helmet on, and I gave him the smoker. So, he's supposed to be smoking the bees and everything else. And so I turned around and he's like, no smoke. And the bees are starting to buzz. I told him, like, where is he? Where is he? And he's holding the smoke. He says, well, I didn't want to get smoke on you or in your face. I said, no, this is where we need it. Turn around. But so he got his face right down in the hive. It was good. It was really good. I think he had a great time. He was just waiting for somebody to tell him to come do it. He'd been in the club for 2 years. He'd never done anything. So anyway.
Hi, everybody. I'm on.
Hello.
Oh my God, we have 6 participants.
Well, I'm promoting Barry to a panelist now.
Are you going to turn on our visuals?
Yeah, you guys need to. I was going to turn mine off, but you can turn yours on.
I can't, because the host has stopped it.
Ah, I'll fix that.
You better.
I know the host.
Yeah, right. Right.
All right, now you should be able to turn on your video.
Right. Let's see. There's Barry. Denise. Oh my gosh. Look at us. Very good.
Somehow, some reason I'm not on. I don't know why, but anyway.
You have your video. You need to check on your maybe the lower left where it says start video.
Oh yeah, okay.
There you are.
There we go.
You know, I'm always looking over your shoulder, Tony. Hey, Jackie, are you there?
Jackie's on mute, but she's here.
All right.
There, are you?
Jackie, you got the invitation? You got the stuff from me, didn't you? On the names of everything that you'd asked?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Are you able to hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear
Oh,
you.
good, good.
And I think that Janet's there. Hello, Janet.
Hello, good evening. Good to see everybody.
Well, it's good to be here. Actually, it's not good to be here. I'd rather be in the room. In the room where it happens, right, Catherine?
Now, I'd rather be here. I can drink wine here.
That's ridiculous.
You're bad, Tony.
It's a beer night for me. I tried to find the minutes, Anne Marie. I don't know. They're
They,
posted.
Cliff,
Yeah.
you should have the ones from 7/14. I think we had those last time and you postponed it.
I went online today and tried to pull down minutes and went to every place I could find on the city site where they're supposed to be.
Okay, so what minutes are you looking for?
Pretty much, I couldn't find pretty much anything since March. I know I've seen them.
Let me just look.
But I mean, did anybody else look at the minutes from the August meetings?
No.
Okay,
No.
July. Well, we're not going to approve them anyway, so it's not important.
And then July, you had postponed at the last meeting, 7/14.
Postponed what?
Right.
Approval of 7/14.
Yeah, but I can't find them right now.
Well, you know what would be helpful?
The ones for 7/14 are on, let's see. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Cliff, it's Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie.
You know what would be helpful to Janine? When you do the agenda, when you put on approval of minutes, if you would put the dates, and then that way she knows to go in and put those on the agenda, and then they should be able, you should be able to just click right on them.
Well, I couldn't find them on the city website anywhere. In the history and I mean, generally you just have agendas and you had minutes. You could pick which meetings you wanted to look at and all that stuff. But I can't find them at all anymore. I know I'd seen them before. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Cliff, how are you? I'm gonna get my video on here.
Oh, that's all right.
You have the pleasure of seeing my face.
Hot damn.
Okay.
So
I'm going off for a minute.
we're trying to find the minutes from our previous encounters. Tony's opening another bottle of wine. But so we have everybody but Carol.
And I know she knows about it.
Good.
We talked about it.
Is Heidi not on? I think she acknowledged
Yeah.
Heidi was gonna.
Yeah. Let me send her a text.
Heidi works till, she said she works until, she will not be able to jump on until just at 6:30 when she
Okay.
off work. And we moved it to 6:30 so she could be here. Has everybody seen the mural?
Yes.
A
Yes.
picture of it.
Oh, did you?
Oh, Carol's on here. Hold on.
I don't see her.
She might not have her video on.
She's on sound anyway. Well, she should be.
There she
There
is.
she is.
There she is.
Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? You're
You're muted.
muted. No, okay.
Now I was talking and nobody could hear me.
No, I'm not going to go there, but that's correct.
Not that, that's right. But I was trying to get on and I had no video connection.
Well, originally we had been, our videos are turned off until the powers that be decide that we should be seen as well.
Okay.
Oh, we'll give Heidi, it's just 6:30. Let's give her like 2 minutes before we start. But so no one has read any minutes from August.
I
So-
was looking for minutes and couldn't find them.
Okay, so we don't have minutes from August.
Okay.
The minutes from the July meeting were attached to the August 17th agenda. So I'm resending a link to that.
Okay.
All right. And then shouldn't they, but shouldn't they just all be posted on the city's website somewhere?
They all will be, once they're approved, they are posted on the website. So I need to go back and look to see if the minutes from before July are up there because they were approved.
Yeah, I think we actually approved 3 meetings worth of minutes sometime in July.
Yes, that was at the July meeting.
Right, okay, so they should be up and I couldn't find them. All right, so I'll try and follow up this and keep looking. But at this point, we have 7:14 minutes that have not been approved or have been approved.
They have not been approved.
All right,
So you all should have just received a link to the August agenda through your email. So they're attached to that.
all right, but I can't do the 2 things at once, I'm sorry.
They can wait till next month. We just need to make sure that
Okay, so
Janine
next month we
knows that
should
they
have,
need to be posted to that agenda.
so we should have the 7/14 and the August 20th and the August 15th. We have 2 meetings in August and the meetings in July to approve next month. Okay? All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And my first order of business is to let anybody know that we've had some pretty nice response on our project. Was there any, can you tell me what the city was saying, what you've heard from the city here, Mr. Williams? Yeah.
I mean, the council people seem to be pretty happy with it. I don't think there's been any negative. Heidi had one comment about someone saying that I guess there was some comment about the BLM tag, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. I think it was around like, I hope taxpayer dollars weren't spent on this, so they weren't. So you know.
Yeah, well, there was a guy that reported there was one person that came to the city, and we responded to him through the mayor. Responded to him saying, "Look, there's some BLM signs in people's yards, and
Yeah.
this is, the guy happens to be a big fan of the Bureau of Land Management. What can we say?"
Right.
Well, I think that's the point. Is he also had people depicted in there that had COVID masks. So he's trying to capture the time that we're in now.
I mean, that's basically
Yeah,
what I saw there.
it's art too. I mean, you know, I mean,
Well, he, has anybody seen uh, uh, the, 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 the question and answers that went on to the Cape to Gazette Facebook page? We had 100 comments
from the Cape Gazette article.
in our, yeah,
Oh,
in our page. And what I wrote to them, some people, I mean, you know, a lot of it is a great addition to the trail, better looking than a plain blank wall, great job. People that complained, and there were complainers on there saying they should have received public comment, and people wrote back and said they solicited public comment, and haters just missed their opportunity. It's a little bit like Where's Waldo meets Keith Haring, big art with a sense of humor. Thomas Flowers wrote, I hope taxpayers' money was not wasted on this quote unquote art. And Wendell Heil wrote right after him, I hope my taxpayer money went to pay for this art. So, you know, they said it was clever, your public art in Southern Delaware. It was perfect. You should be commended. A great spot. Hope you continue to beautify the neighborhood. We've had 5,900 people reach through our internet social media. Over 1,000 people have engaged directly. I think that I went down there and did some interviews when they were doing it. And I mean, it's really funny. I mean, if you've all been there, you know, you can stand there for 2 or 3 minutes and somebody's going to stop and they ask questions. And it's really.
the only comment that I heard was they thought it was going to be more colorful, and the only thing I said was, well, this was our second choice. The other one was more colorful, but I think it's fine.
Well, what I wrote them was, we commissioned this mural to provide a fun, energetic encounter for folks passing on the trail. It was always about the experience of those viewers more than the image. Anyone who listens out there to the comments of the passersby would feel it's been a resounding success by these standards. The surprise encounter has had a positive effect. Many take comments on the rarity of something like in Lewis with the youthful appeal. It was never meant to be a billboard for Lewis, but about the energy that Kyle felt when he visited. And we're supposed to be a town that celebrates diversity, and so it was a little diverse from the normal stuff that we see. And I think that, you know, that people say, well, it's not Lewis because it has a mountain in it or something like that. And it's totally irrelevant. We don't care what the image was. It wasn't supposed to be about Lewis, just what the guy felt like when he was here. So the people that, the one guy that, you know, we didn't get together on the comment on the contract, you know, did you see he wrote us all a snarky little email?
Yeah.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah. And I thought that was like, that doesn't surprise me. So I'm really glad that we picked this guy, and the energy that we've gotten from Philadelphia and the movie he sent. I don't know whether you've seen the time-lapse film that's on our website, our Facebook page.
When was that posted?
10 days, 2 weeks ago.
I didn't see it. Okay.
It's there. I mean, I'm a little over my head with all this. This was going to be not my. It kind of fell into my lap because for various reasons. I mean, it's on one of those places. I think it's on our Facebook page, and it's not on our website for the city. I tried not to put anything on the city website. Our official website does not take the comments. It's not meant to be anything more than one direction informational. So I think that the link to that film is like a one of those.
A link?
There's a link to his film, the timeline, and it's off of Kyle's Instagram account. So I would not have put that on the city's on our website. but it could be on the Facebook page. There she is. Hey, Heidi.
Hi.
Cliff, there was
How's
a
work?
Cliff. There was a thing in the chat from Karen Braven, who's trying to be on but can't find herself.
All right. Can anybody?
Karen's not a committee member, right?
She is a committee member. She's our consultant from New York.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Here
if
she
I
can.
realizes she's muted.
Oh, she's just chatted. She can see
Yeah.
it, hear us all.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. So see if we can get Karen.
I've had lots of good comments about the mural. Tons of people.
Hey, Karen.
There's Karen.
Sorry. So yeah, we're just going through the comments. Wait, who's talking now? Anybody? Raise your hand if you're talking.
It's feedback.
Yeah. Karen, can you talk?
Unmute yourself, Karen.
All right.
Okay,
there
can
go.
you hear me?
Now we can.
Yes.
Okay,
So we just finished going over the comments and the general.
I heard.
Now the finances. Heidi, you are keeping track of a donation that's coming from Dogfish Head, right?
You're muted.
I'm muted?
There she is.
Heidi?
Were you able to give them the paperwork that they needed? I forward that on to you because I don't have that paper.
I don't have any, I don't have anything for him. And I think that what we need to do, I mean, yeah, I think you need to, I would be appreciative if you took the initiative to get that turned in. We're looking for, so he said it's going to take a month or two to get the money gets turned in. So,
Well, I'll see what Mark says because I forwarded the email to you that he had asked for the questionnaire. So I will follow up with that.
I don't, yeah, I saw that. Carol, you have also.
What?
You also have a, the process going to the state. Has that all been turned in?
Janet and I met about that, and she passed it on to Allison, who is sending it up there. And then I'll let Janet comment on what's going on with this. She's muted though now.
So Cliff, there's a W-9 that they need and a BBC COVID form that they need.
That's Dogfish.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're talking about the Division of the Arts.
Let's do Division Arts, and we'll come back to Dogfish.
So, thank you, Carol. Good evening. I have been working on the application with Carol. I've had some difficulty getting into the website.
Can you tell, you are echoing.
I know, I don't know why that is.
Feedback thing.
Maybe that's better.
Okay, is that better?
Much better.
Yes.
Okay. So both Allison and I have contacted the Delaware Division of the Arts to change the permissions and who is doing the applications. I have emailed them and called them. Allison has as well, and I'm having difficulty getting access into the applications. So I'm continuing to work on it. Carol and I have met and we've gone over it. So it's just a question of me getting it into the website and submitting that application. So I will continue to work on that.
Well, Carol, you did that before.
No, but Allison had to be the person that submitted it
Because she was
as the
authorized.
representative of the city, because
The
it's,
city employee.
Right.
So Janet,
and so now it's Janet's job.
So now it's kind of been transferred, but from what I can understand, they have not given me the access or the permissions. So I have called them and emailed them, as has Allison, and we're working diligently on getting that.
do you know who you're talking to up there?
Denise, and her last name escapes me, but I can get that for you, Cliff.
Yeah, I mean, I might call because if they're not giving you permission, we're totally stopped because you can't even do the application.
Right.
And that
So
should be
when
something they can turn around in 24 hours. This is nuts.
when I called the number, what happened was I got a general voicemail, so I left a call back, but then I did email them through their kind of web help, and I also emailed Denise, and I will get you her name tomorrow, Cliff.
Okay, and send me all your contact information too, because I might like call somebody like the people that I would know they're more like senior people and they we'll work from both ends. Okay.
Okay.
One of the challenges is I think that most of the state employees are still working remotely. So I don't know what they're doing with phones. I don't know if, how often they're checking. But I do know that most employees at the state level are still working remotely.
All right. Well, we need to get that. And then Heidi, you need to talk to the city to get that done. I guess you need to talk with Janet too, because I don't have that information. So you're saying you need to fill out information for Dogfish Head.
Well, I asked you if I should send it to the city, and you said to send it to you. So I'll send it to the city now, or talk to the city about it.
Yeah, I was going to forward it to the city, but I was waiting for, I don't think we didn't know who our city person was going to be for a while. Now we know who it is. Poor Janet.
So Heidi, forward that to Janet, and Janet and I will get it taken care of. A W-9 is easy, and I'm sure whatever the other form will be simple too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. The next order of business, I have two things. We received an inquiry from the city of Lewis about another opportunity for a mural on a wall over near where we were working with this wall.
It's on Washington Avenue.
Washington.
No, this is a smaller building. It's really right on a residential street. At first, I thought this was a pretty cool idea. Did anybody? I know Barry, you went and looked at it.
Well, I used to own a house right across the street from it. I still have friends that live right across the street. So I'm very familiar with it.
Well, I'm suggesting everybody go look at it between now and the next meeting at this location.
What's the address?
It's at the.
You say
The end of Washington.
140 Washington Avenue, or the end of Washington Avenue where it meets the trail, the bike trail. It's right there.
And this is another location that would be very visible from the trail.
Yeah.
Well, I went over and looked at it, and I don't think it's very visible from the trail because there's a bunch of bushes in the way. It's not perpendicular to the trail.
When did you look at it? Because there were some.
After all the bushes were cut down.
Okay, because there were some trees cut down.
And then the other thing I'm thinking is we have this great, big, huge, beautiful event taking place 100 yards away. And I think that either this could be something that diminishes the effect of the big piece, but I think if I'm the person across the street from it, I could be pretty annoyed by having this big, even though it's an artistic feat right in my face. Now, Barry, you said you talked to the guys.
Well, they sounded excited about it.
Well,
I mean, they kind of told me before I told them, so they sort of knew.
everybody go over there and take a look, and we'll talk about it next month. But when you look at it from the trail, you're really looking almost across it rather than at it. And I'm not sure that you wouldn't do the top of the building, you'd do the bottom of the building. I think it's something that we could do, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it wouldn't take away from what we've already done.
But maybe this is something where we do it more with like community high school students under the direction of an artist or something like that, and then it doesn't compete as much with the other artist. I don't know. It's just a thought.
You can't see really at the same time.
What's that?
You really can't see at the same time. Like if this one's here and the other one's over here.
No, you can't.
You're right.
But I do feel like it's something we should look at and consider carefully, because I've also, the city of Lewis has 2 murals that have gone up in the last couple of years, and maybe we need to move on from murals for a time being. Yes.
I agree with you. I don't want us pigeonholed, or I would not be happy if we were pigeonholed as doing murals around the Schley Avenue city-owned buildings. I think I'd like to see us go way out on the trail, or do something in town, or I think we need to do something different.
Okay, well, let's everybody look at it between now and the next meeting, and we'll put it on the agenda to talk about next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I do know that at the Historical Society, they have a piece that just went up, and it was right across from houses, and people are not happy about that. As
Right.
it felt like it was eating, so or too close to their house.
Right.
Not what they every day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors here. And then even if we did something really petite, we could do like, a single drawing on the wall that was maybe only 4 feet wide and 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be enough, but there's a lot of options. Let's everybody go to that site and look at it from the bike path, because that's where 90% of people will see it. Otherwise, it's on a dead-end street in a residential district, and nobody else sees it but those 6 houses or so.
Well, they could. I mean, it's accessible just because it's on a residential street. I mean, if you put something on the bike trail, it may not be accessible too.
Right. But we're trying to put our money where we get the biggest bang for the buck. Speaking of that, so let's talk about the next item, which is what are we going to do next spring? And we should be deep into next year's planning now, because this is the time of year to do it. And we haven't really spoken very much. I had a conversation with Tom Fruin this week. Ambivalent as always, I said, what should I tell him, Tom? He said, just tell him we had a really nice conversation. He has not been back to Brooklyn, Karen. He's still out of town. So, I mean, his brain isn't around it. So I think that we should probably push forward. What's the idea? I mean, Karen, what do you see up in New York with artists and presenting? And I mean, is this whole world stopped or?
I mean, I'll be honest. First of all, it's been the summer, so galleries have been closed. They took it as their opportunity anyway. Museums are finally reopening. So, I mean, I have barely been in New York City. New York City was this epicenter, and nobody wanted to hang out here. I think it's going to change. I think maybe with Tom Fruin, I think he was already a little bit difficult, and maybe you just hold on to it as a possibility, and he could be another year,
Well, I definitely don't want to, my thinking was we should be looking at doing something else.
I was thinking about that one piece that was submitted that was kind of mobile one that we talked about as a possibility for along the trail.
True.
You know, it wasn't going to work at the site that we had, but we said this would be great for somebody riding along the trail.
I actually got a movie from her because she finished the second one that she was working. I'll send that to you guys. I mean, that would be this was a kinetic mobile.
Right, that's the word I couldn't think of.
But I'm kind of thinking about something down in that park, something, you know, big and let's back off the bike trail for a minute. Not everybody's on the bike trail. And I think that we did have a question on, you know, the park was really excited about us using that space. And
Especially because it's dead space for them. They can't really do much there anyway.
You know, and I just also think that, I mean, the quality of that experience, if we can come up with something that's, you know, got that kind of mass and volume and effect on people, it would be pretty nice to be working towards that. Karen, we gave you a very short period of time to work digging up some ideas last year. I mean, I'd like to, I mean, send you out thinking that we could do this, and, you know, we could do all this and look at what we find. And I can tell you, if we call up, we don't owe Tom anything. Our money.
Yeah.
So if we don't find anything, I don't feel good about begging him to come back. We've already had one artist that we had to blow off because he wanted to change the contract on us. And I feel like as you get back, I mean, September is usually the re-entry month. It looks like it's going to be October this year.
I think it's going to be October. Yeah.
So when you're out,
but I don't need the art world to be spinning, you know, with openings and everything to have it be, you know, you see as much on the computer. I don't need that. I don't need it to be so active. So in fact, you may have a better situation this year because there are people that have not had the opportunities for a year and are very eager for it.
Right. Tom says they've been working all summer on these, you know, AutoCAD drawings for these new pieces. Every one except for one has been canceled.
Really?
He goes, but, you know, I mean, or told just put it off. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't. So, I mean, you know, if we're a ready buyer and there's not, you know, and it's a, you know, maybe we should be looking. I mean, you came up with some great stuff in a very short period of time last time. You know, I'd love to send you back out. Does everybody agree that we should be looking for something in the park? Does anybody not?
Yes, I mean, I think that we sort of made a commitment to the park and to that space, and I feel like there's an expectation that we're going to do that we canceled or had to cancel, you know, Tom's thing, and that, you know, people are going to want to know, well, what happened to the, you know, the plexiglass water tower? Like, why are we not doing that? Or why isn't that part of the equation?
Or at least something in that site.
Well, because we already sold people on it.
Right.
Which I think was a real hurdle, you know, to get city council to approve it and the counselors and stuff like that. So, you know, we've made a lot of progress and a lot of inroads, and I don't want to have to start over again. No. So I really think we ought to focus on that space.
Cliff, I would like to just add that at the moment, Art in Bloom / Lewis in Bloom is definitely looking at a project in the park and what they can do there. So, I mean, this raises the issue which has been raised to me personally. What is the difference between the PAC and Art in Bloom? Why are there two organizations that are trying to bring art into Lewis.
Well, I mean, the more the merrier. I think we have, if I had to answer that in one question, I think that our mission is to educate and elevate, and Art and Bloom's mission is more to decorate. I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's not, I don't mean to be harsh, but we do have different ways that we look at art, and we have different ways of posing it.
Well, I would definitely call the mural decoration.
Didn't it have just something to do with the fact that Art and Bloom was a private organization, and that the people in that organization were not appointed or sanctioned by city council?
No, that's absolutely true, Barry. But the issue, and this is how I've answered it, is that Art in Bloom can place artwork anywhere that is not city property.
Oh, that's a good
But we can't do it on city property without going through PAC for approval, and then PAC passes it on to the city council.
Well, and there's
But
also
it's pointless
out there that people
without
don't know.
there being some form of discussion for PAC to be trying to do something in the park, and for Art in Bloom trying to do something in the park. There needs to be some form of discussion between the two groups.
Definitely.
Well, I realize, I mean, you obviously you go back and forth. What do you guys want to do in the park?
Well, it's undecided at the moment. We're looking at all sorts of things, but it's all up for grabs with what Lewis and Bloom wants to do with some of the plantings in the park.
So, well, I mean, I think that's that's telling. I mean, if your art is determined by the plantings, we do have a different focus. We're trying to make art be the focus, and the plantings are secondary.
Cliff, I'm not criticizing that at all.
You're
What I'm
asking
saying is that a lot of people don't understand what the difference is between the two organizations.
Right. Well, I realize that. I feel like, I mean, I talked to Warren. Actually, Warren did an interview for us for the mural, which might be on in an article that's coming out in the News Journal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the whole idea of why we're doing these things is really important, and why we do it, why this committee, our mission statement, what we're trying to do to educate is really different than, that's not the goal of the Art and Bloom Committee. And so the coordination, I mean, we did receive a letter from the head of Art and Bloom, and I did not respond to it because it was kind of, I thought, silly. And, but they were saying that they didn't want us to put, this just could be the ego of one person, but they didn't want us to have a picture of the Sentinels on our website, and asked us to take it down because we were interfering with their brand. Now, I find that I looked this up, and the Sentinels was a combination city and an Art and Bloom project, and a lot of money was given by the city, and I kind of feel like that's kind of crazy. We're trying to do, I mean, the more people can focus on art and bring art for whatever reasons and whatever levels out, it's better. I feel like that our mission, which is to challenge people and get this reaction that encourages dialogue, is that's just our mission. I mean, Art and Bloom can do what they want to do. I don't feel like that we're interfering with what they're doing. I mean, do you think that we're interfering, Tony?
No, I don't. I was not in agreement with the discussion that took place, and I didn't even know that letter had been written, but I was not in favor of that particular discussion, because I believe that the two things should be complementary, and any publicity is better than no publicity. Doesn't matter for which organization it is.
Right. So but we want to try and have Lewis. I mean,
But that's just
our-
my personal opinion.
And
I'm only one member of that committee.
So, I mean, I can't speak for, I mean, I did run this past through City Hall and they agreed with the thing is like, just consider somebody was having a bad day and there's no reason to have this, it's a big discussion because, I mean, the city put up a lot of money for that and
Well, they didn't put up a lot of money, but they did put up some money.
I think they put up 6,000.
Yeah, but you know, more than that was raised
I know.
by people in Lewis or from people in Lewis.
I mean, in general, we don't want to compete for the spaces that are being used, and I think that would be addressed if we just communicate.
Barry, I agree with you, and what I've said at a previous Lewis, or rather Art in Bloom meeting, is that if there's something that we would like to do, and I'm talking about we being Art in Bloom, within the park, we have to get permission because that is city property.
Right.
And it would be the ideal opportunity for Art in Bloom to actually work with PAC in order to get something done.
Yeah.
Because
And
we haven't done that yet.
it takes coordination with the Recreation and Parks Commissioner
Yeah.
and Friends of Canal Front Park, and we kind of did all that when we got permission to do the plexiglass water tower. In fact, you know, I talked with Rodney, who is the commissioner for that park,
Right.
and he suggested the space. Hey, this would be a perfect place. We can't grow grass there. It's, you know, it's wet all the time, whatever. So they, you know, it was a coordination thing, and I just think that's.
But if
that's all
Art in
gonna
Bloom
happen
comes
or
up
could
with a
happen.
suggestion for something in the park, they still have to go through PAC in order to get city approval.
That's correct. And the reason for that for me is that there's only a limited number of pristine areas where
Oh, sure. But that was
we don't wanna-
always why PAC was set up.
And so we don't necessarily want to devote those to things that aren't doing what we want the city's art program to be doing.
And the other issue is Art in Bloom is a private nonprofit, whereas PAC is a group that was appointed by city council or whatever. So that's a little bit different. Doesn't mean we can't work together.
And we're all competing for the same funds.
That's true.
What do you mean? What
You
funds?
have- PAC has to raise money to do a project in the same way that Art in Bloom does.
Yeah. But well, that's true. We all have to raise money. But I think the idea would be to look at this as you know, a long range plan. And I think, I mean, if Art in Bloom wants to really talk to us, I think they need to bring a long range plan. I don't really, and if there's stuff that they think that might make sense and they're open to a discussion about it, like we can all share our opinions and say, you know, this is kind of cool, but you know, I think this is kind of, we don't think this is quite where we want to go because it doesn't do what we want to do with that space, or we think we can get a better bang for our buck and doing something different. I mean, we can have that conversation, but we don't get a lot of input from Art in Bloom. We just basically, it's usually, we hear about things that are, you know, fait accompli.
Well, you know, the reason you haven't heard anything about this is because there is nothing to tell you yet. I'm just telling you that it's under consideration.
It's good that we have Tony on this group.
It's important that we have somebody on the poor Tony, because somebody's got to be squeezed in the middle. You guys get.
Thanks. My resignation will be in the mail tomorrow.
Well, I know there was discussion about getting Charles Park sculpture, and there's been discussion about, you know, which is he's a nice sculpture person. When I look at the energy that we've gotten from our feedback, I'm totally convinced that we're in the right direction. Something energetic and maybe youthfully oriented, something that has a lot of energy, and something that is not staid and recycled good art but recycled old ideas. We have the opportunity to experience new ideas, and that brings a vitality to the town, which is reflected by the internet and the acceptance and the way it spreads around, and the way people see something that's interesting and new and want to share it. They feel compulsed to share it. And a nice sculpture of great quality and stuff doesn't necessarily have that same punch. And so if I'm going to be raising money, I want that, and I'm raising the money to make that happen. And if somebody wants to do something else, it's fine that you can do all kinds of other stuff. But I mean, I feel our committees are very different.
And a lot of people already do that, I feel like, in this area where this feels fresh and new and different than what we already have when we go to certain places. So
Right.
I feel like it's kind of a nice, I think you can tell when you see an Art and Bloom piece or you see a packet. And that's,
So I guess we're challenging Art and Bloom to up their game.
I,
I'm
not going to go there, Cliff.
Well, if I don't mean that in a bad way. We should all be challenged to up our game and do a better job and make it more interesting and exciting.
well, and the other thing, they want to work, do they want to put money towards something that we're doing and be excited?
We'll be glad to accept your donations.
Yeah, of course you would.
Well, anyway.
I'm not going there either.
Well, I feel like, we all support Art and Bloom and Lewis and Bloom especially. And I think I think there's plenty of room for both, but there is a difference. So Karen's going to come back.
I think the point that Tony probably wanted to make, or I think that should be made, is that there may be a perception out there that people don't understand why there are two groups. And we need to be careful about how we present that or how we address that.
Well, every time that I do an interview, I always say that we are a committee that's designed for education.
That's good.
And that's the reason we exist, to educate the public.
Something that we need to continue to echo, I think.
And I think that differentiates us clearly.
But it doesn't matter what Art in Bloom does or what PAC does in the way of putting art into Lewis. There are always going to be people, and this is part of the educational process, people who don't like it and are willing to tell you that they don't like it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, that is why we're doing it, so that we get the conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're never going to please everybody.
No.
And I mean, I, for one, don't particularly like what appeared in the way of artwork for on the BPW building. I think it's overcrowded. I loved what he showed us as an example, but there's not enough negative space. Yeah. You can't even comprehend it if you ride past on a bicycle, and you have to stand there forever to look at it if you're walking.
Yeah. Well, everybody's going to appreciate it in their own way.
Yeah. Right.
That's a good way to appreciate it. And some people want they don't even want to look at the pictures. They just want to feel the energy. So
right.
It's just and that's what's good. And then the guy said you paid too much money because it was only black and white. I really liked that. So I said, well, look, this has gone on almost 45 minutes, which is long for a meeting for us. I think that I'm gonna, try and we're all gonna go look at that other site in the next month. I'm gonna try and get Karen to start up giving us some proposals for next spring. We've got to finish up this fundraising, Carol, because we want to ask for a lot more for next year. Of course, the problem is they want us to target something really quick. And, but instead of these $1,000 grants, we want to look at the $5,000 grant. So. That'll be the future. Anybody else have, and we'll meet in about a month.
I have a question.
Okay.
When you're looking ahead to spring, are you looking to a temporary or a permanent installation?
I think another temporary. We can't afford a really good permanent installation. I mean, I don't know. Somebody wanted, and a permanent installation, you end up having, you have to spend a lot more money taking care of it. It creates an obligation.
I think temporary installations create more energy because it'll change. I mean, who knows? Maybe we put something in Canal Front Park for a year or 18 months and then put something else there.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. And then if somebody really doesn't like it, you can say, look, you're not going to have to look at this the rest of your life.
Right. Right.
Just a question.
And no, it's a good question. I mean, what do you think? Do you like the temporary stuff?
Yeah, it's been fine so far. But I'm thinking if we have something in Canal Front Park that was permanent would be nice too.
Well, if you want to raise $250,000, you know, maybe we can ask Art and Bloom.
I was going to ask Tony, yeah.
What about collaborating with another organization in town to do something?
Well, there are, we talked, Tony, we looked at something with Washington DC, the Hirshhorn folks. They have kind of a rotating group of sculptors. I don't know, coordinating with somebody's collection, or you mean coordinating with another group that wants to share?
Well, I'm thinking of the Historical Society. If we did something collaborative with them that was educational, but was also art.
Well, I think that we did ask for their input on the mural. We got some. I do not want to get too broad here, because if you're trying to keep, I think we need to get a little more water under the dam before we can identify ourselves. I think we need to do 3 years of projects before we reach out and saying, here's who we are, here's what we do. Do you want to work with us? Because I don't like big committees. I like our community. I mean, I think that if you're talking about another institution, like Karen had this other sculpture center up in Pennsylvania, and if we wanted to, if anybody working with somebody else, I'd say we can spend more money if we get a sculpture and we have it for 6 months and they have it for 6 months. That kind of cooperation. But you know, it's hard enough to get us all move in the same direction. It's just this committee. So
I thought we moved pretty cohesively.
well, we get there. I do think so. I don't want to. I think that we have the opportunity, like using Karen, something that we have that don't really need to have. We should do our own thing first, and see where it goes. And I, so I'm not in favor of having the Historical Committee direct one of our projects. We can barely direct them ourselves.
Well, then it also feels like then it needs to be historical, and we kind of haven't gone in that direction before.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking of the educational component too. I mean, you can.
Well, we're trying to educate about art and art appreciation. I'm not trying to educate people about the history of Lewis.
Okay.
There's plenty of other people.
So Cliff, are you saying that if Art in Bloom comes up with a project in the park that it can raise funds for or already has funds for, and PAC doesn't like it, that you would not approve it?
Well, that's a hypothetical situation.
It's a very real situation.
No. It depends on.
Yeah, because you have a very strong opinion of what you'd like to see.
Right.
And it probably is not what Art in Bloom would like to do.
Okay. Well, there's a whole committee. It's not just me. But you have, like you said, you have a lot more opportunities to put stuff in town than we do. A lot more opportunities. So we have very few spaces that we can use. So, I mean, I would say that, you know, since you have literally 100 times more places than we do, I would say, I would fight to make that a relevant. I mean, there's nothing to say it wouldn't all work. We couldn't all get along. It couldn't be a great project. You have to see what it was. You have to look at every project by itself. You don't prejudge anything. I just got the best piece of artwork I've seen in a long time with my granddaughter. I'm bringing it over to get it framed. But, you know, you never know. You never know what it's going to be. But if you guys are developing something that's going to go in this park, I think that you ought to think about developing something that would go also along with what our committee is saying. You're off way out this way with what you want to do. I think our committee only can do a few things. You have a lot of options. You can either do it somewhere else or try to do something that would make sense for our committee. Carol.
Did we exhaust the idea of getting something on loan from a collection somewhere?
We did talk about it, and we did say we weren't going to do that. And the I talked to the historical guy about doing something. He wasn't too interested. You know, we talked about the possibility of the Hirschman collection rotating sculpture that gets moved into town. And we decided that wasn't where we were going to go with this. Not say we won't go there in the future. But we don't have a sculpture park. And we have a chance to do something that we think is cool and fun. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to put my energy. I won't have this job forever. When you're a couple of years from now, maybe that's what we decide we want to do. But I think we had a really good run with this mural. And I think the energy's been so positive. I'm just going to try and keep going it. Gary, you look confused. Sleepy.
I'm just getting feedback.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Time to end the meeting.
All right. Does anybody else have anything you want to say? Andrew, you've been quiet.
No, I have nothing more to add.
All right. All right, Janet, thanks for sitting in. All right. We see you guys later. This is the end of our meeting, and I'll send the notes out for next month, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Bye.